Everybody with a check ain't certified. If you look behind, he say you see a murder house. A lot of people that I beef, it wasn't worth my time.
Yo, my creators, what's going on? You already know what it is, man. It's another edition of CUT. You know what the CUT stand for? Culture, Urban Technology, and Sports. Yes, my creators, you know how this goes, man. We talk to the power players that are moving the culture forward. Nonetheless, man, normally, you know how we go, my creators. I go to my left to your right here, but definitely we have via satellite, via remote from good old, I'm assuming California, right? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It might have to be me. There, if the Ruger spread says Silicon Valley. Nonetheless, we got Dylan McConnell. Yes, McDonald. Sorry, Dylan McDonald. Yeah, there we go. Woo! Starting off crazy, my creators. Nonetheless, you know how this goes, man. He is the CEO of Foodini, Foodini.com. Now, listen, my creators, we are gonna dive into this episode and get you to understand what this technology is about in the culinary and the food culture. Nonetheless, Dylan, what is good, my creative?
All's good, mate. Had a nice holiday weekend and back to brass tacks now, and keeping busy.
I know we're in the crunch. We're in almost the end of the fourth quarter.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I know
yeah, man.
Last chance to get some stuff done before Christmas.
Woo! And yeah, speaking about that, I mean, definitely with Foodini, I definitely feel Foodini might have to help out some families over this. And nonetheless, man, let's get right into it. How would if you had to, like, how would you describe Foodini? Like, if only using 3 words, or cheating, dietary intelligence. If that's cheating, like, how would you describe it?
It's funny. I was about to say, if you were giving me 3 words, I was about to say dietary intelligence company, and then you said cheating dietary intelligence, which I kind of like. Well, that's not bad. I would. Yeah, ingredient transparency is probably the easiest way to think about it. We help you understand what's in your food and whether it's suitable for you based on your personal needs or requirements.
Oh, wow. You guys are trying to really disrupt pharma, huh? You guys guys got to chill, son. Pharma already is losing out on herbal, medicine and stuff like that. So now with you guys coming into play and kicking, tail, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know, you dietitians, you got to watch out. I don't know. It's all good, though. So definitely let's get to it. Foodini supports more than 150 diets, allergens, and preferences. That means, there's a lot of edge cases. You know what I'm saying? So, vegan, gluten, free nut, allergies, anyone. How do you keep the AI from freaking out when it asks someone of the unicorn of diets? Take us into that.
Yeah, so I suppose let me give some context for a second first, because I think it'll help frame the conversation.
Right.
For quick context, Irish, as you can probably tell from my accent, and I was a corporate lawyer prior to this as well. So I didn't grow up in technology or AI or in the world of dietetics or food either. But I was diagnosed as a celiac when I was like 10 years old. So had a lifetime of nearly a lifetime of just navigating every time I went out for food with friends or family, just not knowing where we could go or what we could eat when we get there. And that, as you can imagine, lots of getting served the wrong thing, staff not knowing, being sick, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, this is crazy. Like, how is this still the case, in this day and age? And then I dug into the numbers, and it kind of in the direction of the question you're asking.
Right.
33 million Americans have a diagnosed food allergy. So about 1 in 10 have a food allergy diagnosed. Then you have another 50 million Americans who have an intolerance, meaning when they eat a certain type of food, they react badly, but it's not a medical allergy technically. Right. And then you have another 70 million Americans who follow some sort of lifestyle diet. So think vegan, vegetarian, keto, paleo, low carb, low fat, whatever it might be, bulking, shredding. They're following a diet for personal reasons. So that's about half the country, when you add all that together, that needs to understand what's in their food for some reason. And the reality is that the data to do that just hasn't existed. And so that you're left in this place where you're speaking to servers and people at restaurants who, it's not their fault. They haven't been trained in this information. They have no way of answering the question because it's never been documented. Right. So to your point, we started with the major allergens, right? And the major diets. But every day we'd get like an email from a new user saying, oh, I'm allergic to ginger. What about that? Or I'm allergic to kiwi, or I'm allergic to pineapple, or, all sorts of crazy stuff that, I didn't even know at this point in time that people could be allergic to these different things. And so we gradually then started building out the number of diets and allergens we could cater for, ultimately getting to about 150 odd, which is where we've landed now. And you asked the question around how do we make sure that the AI understands for those more nuanced ones. And the short answer was we'd take about 2 years to train AI and large language models with our team of dietitians to understand all of these edge cases. Because you're right, there are so many. There's so many variables. There's so many different types of restaurants ordering different types of food from different suppliers using different technology, and then so many different consumers with different needs that it took a while to get there. But the short answer is training technology and LLMs for nearly 2 years to get to a point that we were confident that we could cover off all of those edge cases.
Oh no, that's what's up, man. I mean, listen, I listen, because you know how it's going on as of late in society and even today's times about AI. There's been so many arguments, there's been so many debates, what have you. And I know for your team, that had to be a myriad of like, okay, meetings and conferences and let's keep it a buck, Starbucks meetings. You know what I'm saying? Lots of coffee, lots of lattes or whatever have you, to like really like pinpoint it and really get the motor running with this company. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, definitely.
100%. Yeah. A lot of grind, a lot of hustle, a lot of learning, a lot of testing. That's what's required.
Yeah, that's what's up. All right, you combine AI with human dietitian QA. That sounds like that sounds like putting a robot and a nutrition in the kitchen together and saying it makes sense of this mess. Whatever. Shout outs to the ReemoMeerak brand, pre-production. We be going crazy. But what's a time when AI got it hilariously wrong and the dietitian had to come in like a superhero? Take us into that.
That's a great question. I think one of the most important things you hear a lot in the world of AI, and I'm a non-technical person, so apologies to anyone listening who gets this stuff in a way deeper than me, but you hear a lot about hallucinations,
right,
which is where AI guesses or thinks it's right, but it might not be right. And that doesn't work in the world of food allergies. You can't guess.
Right.
Either it's right or it's wrong. So we had to build our system in such a way that if there was any doubt or uncertainty whatsoever, the AI needs to flag it to our team so that the dietitian can come in and do manual review. But I think the funniest ones are more along the lines of, because we'll always still ask it for its best guess, but you'll have menu items that are called like rocket ship.
Okay.
Is that a soup? Is that an ice cream? Is that a curry? Is that a pizza? Like, who knows? So you'd have like things that were called really unusual names with no description. And this is kind of, before we maybe were getting a lot of more information than we are today. And so the AI would say, I don't know, but it would guess. And sure, it could guess anything. Like, it was guessing that these things were anyway, it was hilariously wrong to put it into.
So it's basically AI is playing 21 at the table, and you needed a 7 to roll the dice to win. Oh, okay.
Exactly. But when it doesn't, it'll have a little peek, and if it doesn't see a 7, it puts its hand up and says, "Dietitian team, you need to come in here and look at this because I am not 100% sure. Therefore, I need human intervention." And that's how we operate. AI does first go, flags anything it's not 100% sure on. Dietitian team come in and check and QA everything that it's not certain on.
Wow. I mean, my creatives, you're listening right now to literally what it takes to not only have a startup company, but also to what the people of the company and the staff and everything is really dedicating to make sure this is like up and running. Because just like you said, you can't just go like this, like, hey, hey, does this work? I think it does. You know what I'm saying? You got to really like, all right, let me see, let me examine it. I think it, all right. Yeah, all right, it's a go. You know what I'm saying? That was a lot. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. Because even from our interactions, you know what I'm saying. And yes, I did do some research and everything like that. I was just amazed. I was like, wow, this is like amazing. Like where AI can go even further. Like it's already okay. Some for AI, some could the production. Like for me as a content creator, I'll keep it a buck. It's cut my production for what I do to create content from like almost 80%. You know what I'm saying? And I can imagine for you guys, besides that window being cut down, now it's like, okay, here's the small error for small margin for error. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I
But
can see it like time consuming. You only got this much amount of time to really check on everything.
I think you put that really well in terms of the 80% time save. Like when we started this, we rolled up our sleeves and we did it all manually.
Right.
Everything was manual. We input all the information manual. We examined everything manual. We learned how it all worked manually before we then brought in the technology to be like, okay, now that we understand the processes, understand the reality of how kitchens work and how the restaurant industry works, now AI let's use you to 80% take away some of the workloads in these processes. And the thing is, once it's trained on the right data,
Right.
it's more accurate as well, right? Your human error component then falls away because it's a machine that's been trained on certain rules and it doesn't make mistakes when it comes to that. So no, it's been a game changer in terms of our ability to move quickly, which is the key point there.
Yeah, nah, that's what's up, man. Let's go to the next one. Your platform covers restaurants, stadiums, events, hotels. Basically, you're trying to be the foodie version of a universal translator for allergens and diets. What's been the hardest environment to translate so far, and why?
Um, yeah, hardest stadium environments are tricky because you could have 70 different concession stands, which are literally like 70 different mini restaurants. And sometimes they're owned by one food service company, for example, but a lot of the time there's a lot of third party vendors in there as well. So you're having to get information from so many different sources. It's just a big lift, I would say. So every environment has its own quirks and easies and not. I'm a massive sports fan, so I love the fact that we're operating in stadiums, and I was that person doing laps of a stadium, trying to be like at halftime, being like, I just want something to eat. Like, which one of these bloody stands has that option? But had no quick way of finding that out. And again, staff in those environments tend to be less well trained on this as well, so they don't know either. But tricky just in terms of the volume. It just takes us more time, but rewarding in terms of love seeing us active in sporting environments.
Now, so, all right. So listen. So you say you're a sports fan. So I want to know right now, Foodini right now is compared to what athlete right now, if you had to say?
Oh, that's a hard question to put someone on the spot.
No, hey, listen. It's an off segue question, but if you had to say, it's no right or wrong answer. It's what you feel. Who are we to say? How dare Foodini say they're Michael Jordan?
Who I'll go for. This is a bit of a niche one. I'm gonna say we're like Sunderland, the football club.
Okay.
Premier League football for any soccer fans.
Okay.
We were startup down in League One there a few years ago, and we've kind of continued to grow. And Sunderland are currently overperforming in the Premier League right now, ahead of Man United and Liverpool and all those guys. So we're still small, we're still scrappy, we're still a startup, but we're in the space we're in. We're I think beginning to establish ourselves as the credentialed provider of this type of service. And so yeah, bit of a niche one for you, but that's what I'm going with.
All right, hey, listen, that's what's up, man. Listen, hey, that's your answer. Who am I to go? Hey, how dare you? How dare you say that? How dare you have faith and pride in your company? How dare you?
Give it to me by sporting league. I can give you a golf.
No, hey, listen, it's all good.
I can give you an NBA.
Listen, Dylan, your answer is your answer. Here on Cuts, not only do we debunk the nonsense and the effery that happens within the cultures, but overall, we are firm believers of what the creatives or the creator themselves feel about themselves and their brand. So who are we to go, no? You know what I'm saying?
I would have loved to say Man United because I'm a Man United fan, but
they've been
so terrible in the last decade that unfortunately I don't want to compare ourselves to them right now.
Right. All right, that's what's up. Let's talk business, man. So just recently, I hope I'm correct on this, you guys hit a little above the 2 million revenue mark in 2025. With just a 21-person team, I'm assuming that's how much you guys are, and that's lean. What's the secret sauce? Like, what is the secret of towards the success, or for that matter, leading towards just growing of the success?
I'm not sure where you got those numbers. I'd say they're probably slightly off. I think the the stat you might have found online, we raised a $2 million round last
Okay.
year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, an investment. I think the secret sauce to is, finding product market fit is hard for anyone, whether you're a podcaster, starting a business, fashion, it doesn't matter. It's like you're an entrepreneur. It's tough, right? And it's tough to find that wedge where you can, you know, come into your own and grow and actually create a business versus just an idea. And so for what we're doing, it's, we have a lot of hurdles to jump through. We have to build partnerships with a lot of different people in the food ecosystem. We have to work with we've got a lot of coverage with restaurants. We have to make sure consumers are enjoying the experience. We have to make sure our technology works. We have to sell. We have to market. So there's so many components. I think the secret sauce is just staying focused, or as focused as you can on your main priorities. It's very easy to get distracted by 101 different things and new opportunities that come up. I think staying focused on your main priorities and making sure you kick those goals. Being transparent with your investors, being transparent with what's right and what's wrong when you're selling, because again, we're not a Google, we're not an OpenAI, we don't have hundreds of billions of dollars. We are a startup that has built a really compelling product based on a lot of hard work and know-how with not infinite funds. And so we have to make sure that what we do spend money on drives a return for the business, and that we build a business that continues to grow and be investable, as opposed to just an idea, which is anyone can have an idea,
Right.
but to turn it into business is tough.
Nah, I mean, thank you for expressing that. I mean, my creators, hope you're listening right now. For those want to have startups in anything that you're doing, you know what I'm saying? This isn't, for the wary. You know what I'm saying? This is really, you have to be determined. You have to be really dedicated to understanding, okay, the profits we may not see maybe in 5 years, minimum. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And some companies, it's a longer game, right? There is sometimes you need to build the product, and you need to you know build relationships and partnerships and integrations, which then in the future unlock lots of revenue, or whatever that might be. It's not always a linear path to other companies. They're the exact opposite. Other companies are day one revenue and to the moon, and that's that it just depends on the type of company, the type of industry, the type of product, and finding a paying customer, because that's all what it comes down to: who's going to pay for your product. And if no one's going to pay for your product at any point in time, then you have a problem. But it's not always the obvious person that pays for the product.
No, right. And also, too, which he's expressed in my career, is what we always talk about here on this platform on Cuts. How do you answer the why of the customer? That's the key thing. And the why in this era, for the last decade, let's just keep it a buck, it changes even less than a second. Let's say nanosecond. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. I think for us, we're like, what makes me, or what helps me get up every morning out of bed and throw myself into this every day, is the fact that there are so many, and this doesn't discriminate across the country, across the city. Like, food allergies are in every city and
Yeah.
country.
Every ounce of life.
There's so many, and it's so many of those people traditionally have felt excluded from things that lots of people take for granted because of their food allergy. Going to a friend's house for dinner, going out for dinner with work, go getting catered food to a birthday party that you're like, oh, well, I just don't know what's in it. And the people who don't have the problem don't even notice this going on in the background. But like, that person either often doesn't eat, or maybe they feel pressured into eating, and so then they're sick, or people die. Like, this is a serious thing. And so helping that community of people, which is growing and sizable as it is, get that understanding and transparency into what they're eating, so they can just have a normal experience like everyone else, is really rewarding. And I think when we think about, to your point on trends and how quickly they're changing, personalization is the name of the game right now. Like, people expect personalized content, whether it's on TikTok or
Mhm.
Netflix, or DoorDash, or whatever. They want to know, how much do you know about me, and how are you going to tailor the content to me and my likes and my needs and my preferences? And then the other big thing, I think, which is growing, is transparency. People more than ever, especially when it comes to what they're putting in their bodies, are demanding to understand and know what is it, so that they can then make a decision as to whether they're willing to put that into their body or not.
Yeah, no, that's what's up. I mean, my creatives, if you remember from when, the Root Spray himself pulled up to Ad Week, that was the big major theme in Ad Week across the board for all the companies. It was besides personalization, but also too authenticity. You know what I'm saying? That was the big huge thing right now. You know what I'm saying? Also too, they were also mentioning about how gearing away from influencers. Not saying that it's the influencers' fault, but as far as like they wanted to find like real people, like not saying influencers aren't real, but actual people that are going through the things, issues, challenges, or what have you, or what can be beneficial for the company to help them in their life, or for them to implement their systems into their lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely glad you touched on that for sure. Thank you for definitely expressing about that. All right, I got a couple more, and then before you leave, we definitely got to do bars of cap. All right. Let's look. All right, in the AI gold rush, do you think most founders are building picks and shovels, or just glittering rocks and calling them diamonds? Take us into that. I mean, I know you're not a big tech guy, but in your experience
Yeah.
from coming into the AI field and AI culture, take us into that.
There's a mix of both.
Okay.
There's definitely a lot of people who are leveraging exist, and there's nothing wrong with this, by the way.
Right.
There's you can build a very good company by just leveraging what's out there. They call them like wrappers, like just take the existing AI functionality that's out there, wrap it in something pretty, like you call like a diamond that's doing whatever, call it an AI, your custom AI, whatever. And if you can get customers to pay for that tool, amazing. You've built a product in a month that would have taken you a decade to build prior to, a lot of these new no-code type tools and whatnot. And you can probably build a successful business off that. It's probably not going to be a unicorn. It's not going to be like a big business, but it could be a very good business nonetheless. I think there are definitely other founders out there who are building like fundamentally game-changing technologies. I just look at some of the other portfolio companies that some of our investors have invested in. They're so impressive. These are the smartest kids from MIT and whatever, and they are building technologies that they're telling me what they're doing. And I'm like, I don't even fully understand what you're saying. Like it's like so beyond my pay grade, but they are trying to change the landscape of how industry works. There's one that is building chips that take up about 100th of the amount of processing that NVIDIA chips take, for example. Now, we know how big NVIDIA is. They're
Sure.
in the world. Now, will they be successful in that? Who knows? But they're experimenting with technology that if they are successful, they're going to be very, 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 very successful and a big company. So it's a mix. And I think it really depends what type of business you're trying to build. And if you're just trying to build a business that can make good money quickly, fast, you don't need to invent a new AI technology. Just come up with a great brand and a good product, leveraging what's out there, and away you go. And I think the really game-changing, future-thinking MIT, Harvard grads who come out with the new technologies, they're going to be far fewer, and there'll be far fewer of them that will succeed. But the ones that do will be mega.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, man, I like we've talked about here for the past couple of years. Actually, not past couple of years, ever since C.U.T.S existence. You know what I'm saying? If we do have people from the tech world, or for that matter, people that do have startups, I mean, that's been the thing that we've been talking about. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's a gift and a curse when it comes to technology. I mean, that's just is what it is. It's up to you, the individual. How do you want to take upon this journey and implement it within your business? And then from there, how well do you market off of what you're implementing? Because that's what it is. I mean, that's what it is. I'm not trying to say it like it's simple said and done. But if you look at it on a logistical standpoint, you know what I'm saying? And even off of what you just expressed, you know what I'm saying? You have the person that's creating the product or creating the brand. You have to be willing to go through the steps. You know what I'm saying? And also too, not just only just rely on AI, because I think that's also been the big debate. How many people are relying on AI versus ones that are really going through the steps and emotions or what have you to really understand what AI can be powerful at. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, once again, definitely appreciate you expressing about. All right, this is going to be a reflection question. You know what I'm saying? But let's see how you answer. If you had a giant red button labeled remove 90% of AI hype overnight, would you press it?
No.
Okay, why? Especially they talk about it. Chop on it. Why wouldn't you press it?
Because I think there is a lot of hype.
Okay.
And to your point, there's a lot of rocks that people are pretending are diamonds.
Right.
But the diamonds that exist amongst those rocks are so glittery and so powerful that they by themselves warrant the hype.
Right.
Like I think there are so many industries and big stalwart companies that exist today that are going to be disrupted so heavily because of what these new technologies can do, and I think it warrants the hype. I think it's crazy some of the executions that AI has, and I think it only, and this is, we're only in year, who knows, when did ChatGPT launch? It's not that long ago. Like, it's still
Almost.
a new.
Are we? I think we're in almost a decade. About, if I'm not mistaken,
uh
to my or maybe
it's less.
less.
It's,
It's
well,
about
at
like
least for me,
7.
unless I don't know. I've only been using it regularly for, probably 2 years, but
Right.
maybe there was betas out there before then. But point being, like,
Right.
if you think of the world and all the technologies, like, it's new, and wait till it, like, watch it continue to evolve. How smart is it going to be in 2 more years, in 5 years, in 10 years? Like, I think it completely warrants the hype.
Oh yeah, definitely. Not for sure. I mean, I mean, jokingly. I mean, listen. I mean, once AI gets its license, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Like, if you think about it, when we got our license, you know what I'm saying. We got our license to drive. How independent we felt. You know what I'm saying. How free we felt. We felt, oh my God, wow, this is a different world. So just like you're saying with AI, it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying. Like, once it finally understands itself. Well, I mean, it probably does understand itself, but I'm saying in retrospect to, like, okay, I am powerful. This is it. It's me or nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, whew, just thinking about it, it's like, it's scary. You know what I'm saying? All right, man. We're gonna go into the segment Bars a Cap. Bars a Cap, just to let you know, Dylan, is a segment game where, I'll bring up some scenarios and you decide either bar meaning that you agree with it, cap is self-explanatory, it's cap. But you have to explain about it. There's no being on the fence, middle in between. It's either or. All right, you ready? You sure you ready? I don't know. You sure you ready?
Do I do bar, a cap, and an explanation, or is it just a one-word answer?
No. You can explain. So if you say,
Okay.
if I say a situation,
well, there'll be no sitting on the fence. I'll take
all
it.
right, let's. All right. That's what we like to hear on Cuts podcast. Let's go. All right. First scenario: 90% of startups claiming AI powered are really just duct taping an API to a dream. Bars a cap.
Bar.
All right. Speak on the bar.
Yeah. It's. I think 90% of startups that is what they're doing. They're using AI in their business, as they should be, but it's probably not a core fundamental part of their business. Now, if you ask me that in 2 years' time, it'll probably be cap. I think most companies that are starting now are fundamentally building it into how their entire system works.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I don't think 90% are truly using AI in that way yet, but it's coming.
All right, cool. AI won't replace people, but it will replace people who pretend to be busy. Bars a cap. I think that's a bar.
That's 100%.
That's a bar.
And it's replacing people who are busy. It's replacing people. If anything that's a process that can be replicated, unfortunately, that's what AI does. It can train it, tell it the rules, tell it what to do, and tell it, if this happens, you do that. Da 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 da. That's what AI can do better than a human, and it never gets tired and it never calls in sick, right? And it's a lot cheaper, and that's why there's been, unfortunately, so many layoffs from a lot of big companies, is because companies are realizing that we can use this technology instead of the people, and that's only, again, going to continue to rise in certain industries as well.
Right. Okay. Restaurant menus change more often than TikTok trends. No wonder humans can't track allergens consistently. Bars a cap. Productions. We're going productions. Pre-productions. What are we doing, pre-productions? That goes crazy. ReemoMeerak brand team. But all right.
It's cap because of the way it was. It definitely is not more often than TikTok trends.
Right.
They do change. They do change a few times a year. And that does make it difficult to track,
Right.
which is why you need a technology solution that can do it for them, which is what we do. But it's not unless you're like a farm to table restaurant where the chef is going down to the market every morning to buy fresh ingredients and make a new menu every day. Yeah, that's extremely rare. So
Right.
for the most part, a few times a year, not as often as TikTok
Often.
trends.
Right. Exactly. The biggest threat to accurate allergy information isn't AI hallucinogen. Hallucinogens. It's chefs going, we ran out of butter, so we used peanut oil instead. Bars of cap. Yo, once again, pre-productions. What are we doing here, pre-productions? Yo, this is crazy.
I think it's bar.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Speak about it, Dylan. Why
yeah,
bar?
I think it's a lot of the times when things go wrong, it is for that exact reason. A small business will run out of an ingredient and they'll send someone down to the shop to buy a replacement and they'll buy the wrong one. Or they won't have the right one, so they have no choice but to buy the wrong one. And then no one is internally realizing that that has a different allergen in it than the last one. And now you serve it to a kid with a peanut allergy and he's on the ground because there wasn't that awareness in place. So we always say the most important thing for any restaurant we work with is training and education of staff, regardless of the documentation which comes next. But you need to have processes in place to mitigate against this stuff happening. And I think that's a real live example you just gave that. Like that happens.
Ooh, all right, all right. So productions, all right. ReemoMeerak brand team, we hit it on the spot. All right, thank God for the meetings. All right, man. The restaurant industry has more data chaos than almost any other, and AI might be the first thing to actually calm it down. Bars a cap.
Bar.
Okay, speak on that bar.
It's so fragmented. Data is like different types of data in different platforms where it's structured differently. None of like the data sources, the technologies aren't all talking to each other. It's really fragmented is the word I would use. And that makes it really hard for restaurant operators, and restaurant operators just want, they want everything to talk to each other so that they can just get the information they want. They don't. And I think as an industry, there's now moves being made to like make it as easy for the operator as possible. And there's definitely a lot more partnerships and whatnot happening. But AI is definitely a fundamental part that sits in the middle of that will help all these fragmented data sources come together to ultimately help restaurants run their businesses better, which is the objective here.
No, that's what's up. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, my creatives, you just have to understand, man, each field, each industry, what have you, is thinking and constantly thinking about progressively going forward. That's just pretty much the goal at hand. I mean, yes, yesteryear's ways and everything like that, fundamentally sounded good. You know what I'm saying? Fundamentally was the key thing. But now, as we got AI, as we got other technologies, as we got other startups that are looking to reinvent certain things in the cultures of their industries. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's either you get in with the flow or you don't get in with the flow. Real talk. All right, man. Let's go to the next one. Hold on. Let's see. Right here. All right. These statements are crafted specifically to make. No, sorry. Let's see. Let's go to this one. Foodini. Sorry about that. Foodini isn't just a food tech platform. It's basically the dietary translator restaurants should have had 20 years ago. Bars a cap.
Bar.
Okay, hey, what's up?
Listen, they should have had us 20 years ago, but the technology didn't exist. But it does now. And so like I said, we kind of bridge the communication gap. We make it very easy for restaurants to document their allergy and dietary information, and we make it very easy for the consumer to access that in a personalized fashion for them. So we sit in between the two. And yeah, delighted to be working with more and more every day.
All right, that's what's up, man. Foodini supports so many diets that the AI probably knows your food trauma better than your therapist. Bars a cap. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. That might be cap. I'm just saying. That might be cap. I don't know what you feel. For me, I got to say that's cap.
Food trauma, fair, cap. Because we only hear if something goes wrong from the consumer, and we don't really hear that ever when people use our functionality. So thankfully, to date, I think the experience that consumers have had has been extremely positive, and no incidences to report. I think trauma probably goes to the therapist. We avoid that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Come on, listen, my creatives, listen. It's pure logic. Like we get it. Technology is technology, but at the end of the day, if you have to go past technology and you really need the services, go to the services needed, especially health services. Food, don't be blaming Foodini. Remo approved over here. Don't be blaming Foodini. Cuts podcast. Listen, we're not telling you blame Foodini. Do not blame Foodini. You understand? All right. Foodini solves one of the biggest hidden problems in restaurants. Nobody has time to keep allergen data updated, but everyone pretends they do. Bars are cap. That's a total. That's
I think it's oh,
mm.
it's a bar for the most part.
Right. Okay.
And what I want to
Talk
say
about
about
it.
that is there are restaurant groups who are very diligent about this, because a handful, because they've identified that this is a major risk for their business if they get it wrong. They understand that consumers want and need the information, and they build robust processes to try and stay on top of this. But they're the minority. For the most part, restaurants either don't document it at all, or they half document it or document at one point in time and then don't keep it up to date and don't have a process in place to keep it up to date. And it's just such a risk. Like, it just, again, it continually baffles me how you could run an operation where you don't understand what's in your food when you know that there's people who could eat that food and die. It just logically doesn't make sense to me. So bar for the most part.
Yeah, see, but then here's the thing on that, right? Because now it comes down to, okay, are they just doing it? I'm not blaming the restaurants, but it comes down to that line of, okay, what are you really doing it for at the end of the day? Are you doing it to make a quick profit, or are you really caring about what you're implementing with your restaurant in the community? You know what I'm saying? In that regard.
Yeah. But I think what we say, and like the flip side of this, right?
Mhm.
We have a lot of empathy for restaurants.
Right.
Like restaurants, this is hard. I don't say what I say through the lens of they're all evil people they're not. They're great business people. Food and restaurants are such a fundamental part of our society, and they're such hard businesses to run. They had such a tough time during COVID and everything. They've been hanging on by a thread as an industry for a while. And
Yes,
this is a
indeed.
hard thing to manage amongst 100 other things that they're trying to deal with every single day. And so what we're really proud of is that we're taking this thing that's really tough and hard for them, and we're making it easy for
Right.
them to manage and keep accurate and keep up to date and have it exist everywhere where their consumers interact with their menu. And so I'm less about criticizing restaurants for not doing it traditionally, and more about how can I educate and make them aware that finally there's technology that solves this for them in a way that they can be confident about, and hopefully helping them see the light in terms of now is finally the time to do something about this, and help protect themselves and the consumer.
Now also too, let's just go segue for a minute. I just really just formulated about this. Do you feel, just out of your expertise, not saying that of your political stance of whatever have you, do you feel that the gift in a way with the pandemic, not saying the pandemic was a gift, I'm just stating my career, just asking a reference question. Do you feel that it kind of in a way put a light on an area that was kind of difficult for a long time? Take us into that, as far as like what we basically we've been talking about, that you guys are finding other ways to assist restaurants, or for that matter, to assist whichever clients you're working with in the food culture, to like kind of pinpoint in the areas where they were having difficulty in.
I think COVID, the biggest thing COVID in the world of restaurants built a reliance on was delivery,
Right.
right? Like COVID helped explode and blow up even more the DoorDashes and Uber Eats of the world, in an era where people couldn't dine out, and ordering online and or collecting and picking up was the only real avenue. Um, I think food allergy specifically, not so much the pandemic. I think it was more, I hate to say it because it's controversial, but I think it's just like a lot of high profile incidences and deaths that like continued to happen, that outrage just continued to build amongst the community. And finally, some politicians decided that this was something worth doing. And there was a regulation that just passed in California a month ago that Gavin Newsom signed, which for the first time requires by law restaurant chains to label this information on their menus, full stop. And that's been standard in Europe for a decade. Like that, every restaurant has to. You can't open up in Ireland unless you document your food allergies on your menu.
Right.
And that has never been the case here. It's finally kind of started happening, that these laws and regulations are going to be put in place. And I think that's what's going to move the needle. Is unfortunately it's going to be more, you're required to do this, and that'll make the long tail move. But thankfully, again, there are some great restaurant brands that get ahead of it. They see what their customers are asking, they see the risk, and they do the right thing and make sure that customers get this information now instead of waiting for a law to make them do it.
Nah, that's what's up, man. Thank you for definitely touching on that. All right, last one, and then we're definitely closing out. Foodini is basically the Google Translate for diets, allergens, preferences, and ingredient swaps, but with fewer misunderstandings and more food safety. Bars are capped.
Bars.
Okay.
Absolutely. Couldn't have put it better myself.
2 arms up. Touchdown.
You must have got our sales materials to read that one out.
Oh no, listen, man. This is a shout out to the team, man. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, it's like we throw darts. It's like we're throwing darts at things. Like, okay, all right, add that to the show. All right, research. All right, we've seen the research. Okay, add that to the show. Remo, do you like this? You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, don't get me wrong. Cuts is a myriad of a lot of things. Yes, we're humorous. Yes, we're witty. We're a informational or informative platform, but it's all together in one. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we want not only people of Cuts, Cuts stands for Culture, Urban Technology, and Sports, understand the figures. It's more so to really understand the figures of the acronym of their journeys. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, but also too, we're still debunking certain things. You know what I'm saying? Because, in this era, you know what I'm saying, internet, AI have like smeared the narratives like this, you know what I'm saying? So now, in society, people are so blinded like this, they don't know what's really to believe anymore. So, for here with this platform, for the last 5 years I've had it, this is what it is. These are the conversations we're going to have. These are, it's not going to always be the cool trending, but at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Who knows the information that somebody will take from this and go, you know what, yo, Remo, Dylan, this conversation was fire. Or, whomever I talk to here on Cuts, you know what I'm saying? So definitely that's what we do, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, with the production, with the team, shout out to the team, this is what we do. We go through like a week or two, before, the guest comes on, and they're just they're asking me, or they're emailing me, or they're texting me. We're in group chats. They ask me something, do I like it? Is it going to fit my style of the way I talk? You know what I'm saying? It's so many things. So, at the end of the day, we appreciate, people like yourself that just are willing to come here along the journey of Cuts and just, chop it up with the root spray with ReemoMeerak, you know what I'm saying? All right, man. Everything we got a little bit of time, then we can definitely close out. From everything we talked about, bars or cap, which one of the scenarios really like stuck to you the most, or which ones you felt was like really challenging to answer?
The one around the restaurant mistakes was a tricky one, because there's like the how often does technology get it wrong versus how often does someone in the kitchen get it wrong. And unfortunately, I think a lot of the time it's human error in the kitchen or in the communication human wise, and when the technology gets it wrong, it's normally because the data that fed the technology wasn't good enough or was incorrect itself. That's what they say: bad data in, bad data out. Your AI can only read data based on the quality of the data. And if you could feed AI the terrible data all day, you're going to get terrible results all day. So that was a tricky one to answer.
All right, man. That's what's up, man. Dylan, nonetheless, man, let everybody know. We're reaching out to you, my creators, right now on this one. Dylan, reach out. Let everybody know where to follow you at. Also, too, what else for us to expect with Foodini in 2026? Real talk.
Yeah. So in terms of where to get me, Our website is foodini.co. Our Instagram and TikTok and everything is at GetFoodini, GetFoodini. You can get us on LinkedIn. You can get me personally on LinkedIn as well. What I would say is anyone who has any, friend, or if themselves work in the world of restaurants and this resonated, or food service, would love to connect. Equally, if you're a consumer that has a food allergy, we have an app you can download. It's only available in beta in LA right now. So if you live somewhere else in the country, and don't get upset if you download and there's not restaurants near you, but that's essentially something we're going to be rolling out much wider to help people discover restaurants that are suitable to them based on their needs, not just use us when you walk into a restaurant that's already working with us. And so, yeah, next year I think is going to be a huge year. There's regulation that's going to make nearly every big group in the country publish this information publicly. That's going to be a huge step forward. We're going to try and work more with some of the big online ordering companies. We're going to push our Discovery app out there into more cities other than LA. So exciting time ahead. And yeah, like I said, if anyone resonated, feel free to reach out.
All right, man. You already know what it is, my creatives. You know how this goes, man. Follow Culture, Urban Technology, and Sports. You know how this goes, man. You know where we broadcast this at. We stream this at iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google, Apple, Amazon Music, DJ Chase Radio, FM. You know what I'm saying? YouTube. You know what I'm saying? You already know this goes, my creatives. You know how we close out, baby. Hands over the eyes. Ain't the white, baby. It's the 2 up. Turn that 2 over. Ruger's up. You already know what it is, man. This is another edition of Cuts. We are out of here, and that is peace.
Everybody with a check ain't certified. If you look behind these says you see a murder eyes. A lot of people that I beef, it wasn't worth my time. Got my name in your mouth.